right. Happy Monday morning. This is Module 6, Lesson 5. Your target for today. I can find patterns in vertical and horizontal lines and understand that points on the plane are distances from the axis. We did our application problem this morning. This is exactly how I did my application problem. If you want to do some fluency practice this morning, you can. Just pause these videos. Multi-digit multiplication, standard algorithm. We all can use some practice. Counting by tenths. And writing fractions. Decimals on the number line. And now here's your concept development for today. All right, so we have a coordinate plane here. Go ahead and draw this same coordinate plane on your grid paper. Okay, and we're going to plot some points. So I'm going to draw this on mine over here. So we have our x-axis, and we have our y-axis. It's hard to draw a straight line with this pen. There we go. Our x-axis is labeled with 0, 5, and 10. So 0 is the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is at the 5th box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 10 is at the 10th box. All right, 0, 5, and 10. So we are plotting points today. Here is our first point, okay? So we are going to plot point H, okay? Point H is 3 units from the x-axis and 4 units from the y-axis. But listen when I say this, okay? I'm going to say this again. 3 units from the x-axis means that we are going to plot up this way because this is the x-axis. It's horizontal. So I'm going to say that again. If I say that a point is, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. If I say that a point is so many units from the x-axis, that means the point that we're going to plot is a y-axis point. Okay? If I say it's so many units from the y-axis, that means we're going to plot an x-axis point. It's backwards. Okay? So, let's try this again. We're going to start off by plotting a point 3 units from the x-axis. So that means the y-coordinate is 3. Okay, that means our y-coordinate is going to lie somewhere on this line. This is 3 units from the x-axis. Okay, and it's 4 units from the y-axis. So here's our y-axis, and we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 units from the y-axis. And where these points intersect, that's where we're going to plot our point, right there. Okay, and this is called point H, which is Tell me the coordinates of this. What is our x coordinate, everyone? 4. And our y coordinate is 3. So 4, 3. So in that table there that you see off to the side, hopefully you have that as well. We have the point. We have x. We have y. And then we have x, y. Okay. So we have point H. Our x is 4. Our y is 3. So this is 4, 3. Okay. All right. So what are the coordinates of this point H again? 4, 3. Very good. So make sure you fill in that chart. Now we're going to plot a second point. Okay. We're going to plot a second point that is 3 units from the x-axis. 3 units from the x-axis. Again, that means it's going to be on this line. 3 units from the x-axis. So on that yellow line, that's 3 units from the x-axis. Okay? And 10 points from the y-axis. So it's going to fall on this line. And where those two intersect, we're going to put our new point. This is I. And I is 10, 3. Okay, so fill in your chart. I, 10, 3, 10, 3. All right. Our next point is going to be point J, which is 3 units from the x-axis. So that's going to be on that yellow line again. 3 units from the x-axis. And 8 units from the y-axis. So 10, 9, 8 units from the y-axis. It's going to be on this line. And where those points intersect, this is going to be J. And J is 8, 3. So make sure you fill that in your table. Fill in that table, plot point J, 8, 3. Eight, 3. And we're going to plot 2 more points, K and L. All right? But before we plot K and L, I want you to look at these coordinates. And what do you notice about these 3 points and their coordinates? What is something that you notice? I'm really, really, really hoping, and I'm going to keep this pink, that you notice this. What do you notice about what I just highlighted there? The y coordinate is the same, okay? The y coordinate is the same. So these 3 points, when that y coordinate is the same, they're constructing a straight line, right? If we were to connect our dots, we would have a straight line. Okay? So if we were to connect these, I'm going to use blue. Okay, if we were to connect these, whoops. This is going to be our line W. Okay, the line W goes from the left to the right across the page. It's a horizontal line, almost like a whole nother x-axis, right? Just shifted up three spots. It is a straight line, okay? Does the line W ever intersect with the x-axis? Does it ever touch, go across the line W, the x-axis? Nope. Does line W intersect with the y-axis? Does it go across the y-axis? It does. It intersects right here. Okay? So yes, it intersects with the y-axis, but it does not intersect with the x-axis. Okay? What kind of angle is formed right here? What kind of angle is that? Right angle, you got it. 90-degree angle is being made when they intersect. Okay, when the x and y axis meet, it makes a right angle. And since the W is parallel to the x-axis, it also must make a right angle. Okay, and remember, when intersecting lines form right angles, we call that perpendicular. So line W is perpendicular to the y-axis. It is parallel to the x-axis, okay? So when two lines intersect like this, you see the right angles, and I'm going to highlight the right angles. There's a right angle here, and there's a right angle there. Okay, right angle, right angle. So when a line intersects with another line, we call that perpendicular. Line W is perpendicular to the y-axis. So now we're going to plot our points K and L. So they are on line W. So let's plot our points K and L. Okay. K is K is 3 units from the x-axis, so it is on that line W still, and 1 unit from the x-axis. So it's going to fall on this line. Okay, this is going to be K, 1, 3, K, 1, 3, 1, 3. And the last one is again 3 units from the x-axis and 6 units from the y-axis. So 6 units from the y-axis is there. And we're going to call this L. And L is going to be 6, 3. All right. So we just plotted H, I, J, K, and L. They're all on our line W that is perpendicular to the y-axis. Our y coordinate never ever changed, right? So looking at the coordinates of this line, what can you conclude about the coordinate points on the same horizontal line? So if there are coordinate points that are on the same horizontal line, they are all going to have the same y. They're all going to have the same y coordinate. If it's a horizontal line, they're all going to have the same y coordinate. Now, if it was a vertical line going up and down, they would all have the same, good, that's right, x coordinate, okay? So if there are points that all have the same y coordinate, it's going to make a horizontal line. If there are points that have all the same x coordinate, it's going to make a vertical line. Very good. All right. So the y coordinate didn't change, right? Let's do another one. Okay. We are going to, this was problem 1. Now we're going to do problem 2. Problem 2. Let's see. All right. So problem 2, we're going to have a vertical line, which means all the coordinates are going to have the same x. Very good. X. So let's draw our graph. And all right, so there's our y and our x-axis. We are going to label in half. So we have 0 is our origin. We have every 2 squares, we're going to put a whole number. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, same thing on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, not there. Every 2 squares, 4, and 5. So each square represents 1/2 or 0.5, okay? So we are going to plot some new points. We are going to plot, we have our point, we have our x, we have our y, and then we have x comma y, our coordinate pair. We're going to do a few points, D, E, and F. 3 points today. D, E, and F. So what I want you to do is I want you to know that we are going to plot a vertical line. So a vertical line, remember, goes up and down this way. So the one we did before this, we plotted a horizontal line. That meant the y coordinates were going to be, all the y coordinates were the same. Today we're plotting a vertical line, which means that all of our x coordinates are going to be the same. Very good. Okay, so those are all going to be the same. And that coordinate is going to be 2 1/2. So this tells me that all of our coordinates are going to fall on this line right here. Okay, that is the 2 1/2 line. So I just went ahead and drew my line already. And now we're going to plot some points. Okay, D, E, and F. So point D is 2 1/2, comma, 0. E is 2 1/2, 2. And F is 2 1/2, 4. Okay, so go ahead and plot these points. 2 1/2, 0. 2, 1/2, 2, and 2 1/2, 4. Okay, so go ahead and plot those right now. We have 2 1/2, 0, 2 1/2, 2, and 2 1/2, 4. Again, they are all on that 2 1/2 line. And that orange line represents line M. It goes through all of the points. Line M is parallel. Listen, parallel and perpendicular are two different things. Parallel to what axis? The y-axis, very good. And it is perpendicular to the x-axis, very good. So line M is parallel to the y-axis. Line M is perpendicular to the x-axis. What is the distance of point D from the y-axis? Point D is this one. D, E, and F. What is the distance of point D from the y-axis? So from the y-axis, point D is 2 1/2. Point E is 2 1/2, and F is 2 1/2. So from the y-axis, point D is 2 1/2, E is 2 1/2, and F is 2 1/2. That x-coordinate is always the same. So the distance from the y-axis is 2 1/2 because the x-coordinate is always the same. Okay, we're going to make another vertical line. I'm going to make this a different color. Let's do green today. And we're going to make it go through 4. Okay, and we're going to name this N. Our N line so our N line is also perpendicular to the x-axis, but our distance is more or less than 2 1/2. Right, the distance from the origin is more than 2 1/2. It is 4 from the y-axis. So the distance is 4 from our y-axis. And I want you to go ahead and plot these points on the line N. 4, 2. Here's 4, 2. And 4, 3. And 4, 4 1/2. Remember that x-axis did not change because we are plotting on a vertical line. So on the line N, what is the distance from the y-axis? The distance from the y-axis is 4. Very good. The distance from the x-axis changed every time. It was 2, 3, then 4 1/2. So when I say distance from the y-axis, we're looking at our x-coordinate. When I say distance from the x-axis, we're looking at our y-coordinate. All right. So you have your problem set that you can practice on before your exit ticket today. It might help you. asks you about parallel lines and perpendicular lines, so make sure you understand that a parallel line, what a parallel line is, what a perpendicular line is. Good luck today.